good morning, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to this important spotlight event today, focusing on community safety in the context of violence against women and girls. I'm Cllr Gail Macgregor, and I'm the COSLA's Environment and Economy spokesperson. I'm also a councillor from Dumfries and Galloway Council. Now, COSLA co-owns the Equally Safe strategy with the Scottish Government, and it frames our joint commitment to preventing and eradicating all forms of violence against women and girls from Scotland. These are defined as including domestic abuse, sexual violence and abuse, commercial sexual exploitation, including trafficking for sex, so-called honour-based abuse, including forced marriage, and female genital mutilation, known as FGM. These are forms of violent and abusive behaviours directed at women and girls precisely because they are women and girls. They stem from a systemic, deep-rooted women's inequality and are predominantly carried out by men against women and girls. The strategy also confirms that children and young people of all genders can be and are harmed through mostly male abuse and violence. It highlights that gender stereotypical beliefs, attitudes and expectations also harm men and boys. They do this by limiting development, undermining emotional well-being and mental health, and affecting the behaviours and choices of men and boys. Gender inequality harms and limits us all. Tackling gender inequality and gender-based violence is not a niche concern, but rather one that is linked to many of the key issues and challenges impacting on life opportunities and experiences of those we serve. Now, I've spoken to a lot of people recently becoming spokesperson about a just transition to net zero economy, and we know that the world is changing fast, and a lot of emphasis is rightly put on reducing greenhouse gas emissions to limit further global warming. But we need to remember the world we want to build is not just a greener one, but a fairer one too. We want to redesign towns and cities, not just to make them more sustainable and resilient to future climate change, but to make them safer and more livable places. How women move around in them, how women access and inform the design of safe transportation that reflects the way women live their lives, how economic and environmental challenges are impacting on women's lives, and how we respond to that. These are all crucial for us to consider if we're to successfully empower women and girls to live their lives being and feeling as safe and as fully equal with men. Aiming for high quality public transport which provides good connectivity and a viable alternative to the car, as well as redesigning public spaces and places to make them greener, more playful and economically vibrant for everyone, must be done in a way that is of benefit to everyone. Women make up 51% of the population, so it's imperative that we plan holistically and make the right choices by shifting our normative priorities if and where these do not take account of or serve women's interests and needs. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic affected women and men very differently due to the distinct roles in economies and societies. Before the pandemic hit, globally, women already faced a 99-year wait before they were expected to enjoy full equality with men. The effects of COVID-19 have increased the wait across the world by almost 40 years to 136, according to estimates by World Economic Forum. Now, here in Scotland, the gendered effects of public health measures to control the spread of the virus intensified experiences of domestic abuse and coercive control in the home. Now, this heightening both for women and children's vulnerabilities to harm. Levels of sexual crime and femicide have also been affected. There was a 9% increase in rape and attempted rapes reported in Scotland's 2021-22 figures, and the latest homicide figures published evidenced a 60% rise in the murders of women. In England, the horrific murders of Sarah Everard, Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman, among others, while heightened restrictions were in place, occurred in public places and were perpetrated by men who were strangers to their victims. Many of us joined protests and called for urgent action to be taken to ensure greater safety for women and girls when they're walking on the streets, enjoying life in our parks and green spaces while taking exercise outdoors or while travelling between social events, work and home. Women were rightly angry and more scared, with confidence in authorities severely challenged. Excuse me. However, behind these headlines and shocking figures lies the reality that women are at the highest risk inside their homes, and that those who harm them are far more likely to be current or ex-partners than a stranger they meet in the night on their way home. But for many, this is not how it feels, and for some, not how it is. We must tackle those concerns by recognising and respecting and responding to them. COSLA's local government blueprint identified the importance of prioritising a response to the gendered impacts of the pandemic, the further disproportionate impacts on women and children as outcomes of the cost of living crisis is already becoming clear and calls us to continue that gendered response. And the role of local multi-agency violence against women partnerships is identified in Equally Safe as the local engine driver of implementation of equally safe delivery. They work tirelessly across the local system. They're bringing people together and supporting multi-agency and cross-service collaboration. They're a fundamental source of gendered knowledge and expertise on the dynamics and the local prevalence of violence against women. They can collaborate with and support services working to promote community confidence and safety in environmental development, economy, place planning and transportation, to develop gendered approaches to their decision-making policies and practices. I know you do not need me to tell you that to achieve this requires complete dedication from us all, lots of capacity, innovative and determined leadership, and investment in local services to achieve it. And here I'll pause, because we must recognise the intense pressure that our local services are under. Less and less funding is available to local government as a whole, and this is impacting on the flexible resources available to support gender equalising planning and action on the ground. Resources that are available are invested in responding and mitigating against the worst harms of crisis, to protect those who have already become victims and to support our recovery and their recovery. We need to achieve a shift to prevention, and this requires long-term sustainable investment. Until that investment is made and until we fully control the prevalence and the seriousness of our problem, the public purse will continue to meet the costs of men's violence towards women and the devastating levels of harm that it causes. Today's gathering of minds, experience and professional skills and perspectives from across the system is crucially important. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about the outcomes of your discussions, because it's a particularly important time for these to take place. We have to do it. The Equally Safe strategy will be refreshed next year, presenting an opportunity for you to engage with them, inform them and strengthen it. Your expertise, advice and willingness to contribute to Scotland's commitment to achieve gender equality and to preventing and tackling violence against women and girls is absolutely vital. And I thank you and I welcome you all here this morning, and I hope you have a really constructive morning.